I'm your huckleberry.
This is the Smoking Guns Podcast.
No G, with a Z, P-O-D, Smoking Guns Podcast, back with you on a Monday evening after a bye week, heading into one of my favorite weeks, one of my favorite theme nights of the year. Like, I like them all, but this one's one that and this year is even more special with Batman and the Joker, all of the things. We'll talk about all of that. We are the Smoking Guns Podcast. We're a podcast that deals with professional football in San Antonio, specifically professional football around the San Antonio Gunslingers of the Indoor Football League. My name is Philip Higginbotham. I'm one of the hosts that will spend some time with you tonight talking about football and probably like movies or something. I'm joined as always by my good friends Leonardo Yamas.
What's up, Smoking Guns Posse?
And R.C. Woods.
Hello, beautiful people. Mwah.
I figured out why I do that. I give you guys this little window for your voice because I'm expecting, when we started the show, it was an audio show. Mm-hmm. And so I needed to identify everyone with their voice. Well, now we're primarily actually a video show. I think we see more activity on the video feed. So that's not really necessary anymore. And yet, it's a holdover from the old days of the audio podcast where everybody needs to understand that this is Leo's voice and that's RC's voice and this is my voice, so they know who's talking to who.
We should still get an opportunity to introduce ourselves for the newcomers and everything.
I personally feel like
hello. Only Philip gets to say hi. This is Philip.
I personally feel like less of y'all's voice and more of mine is the way the direction.
I think we should put that up to a vote.
This is Philip Higginbotham and two other voices.
Voices
in his head.
And two other people. That's up. What's up? James Palmer checking in on Facebook. Well, let's get the bad news out of the way first.
All right.
Although the IFL, GoIFL.com would disagree with me, I can do basic math, and I can tell you that at this point, the San Antonio Gunslingers have been officially eliminated from playoff contention for 2025. I do not see a mathematical possibility for us to gain a playoff spot in any way. Now, the league disagrees, or at least hasn't looked really carefully at it, because they have marked Northern Arizona as eliminated from playoff contention. They have not yet marked the San Antonio Gunslingers, but I
don't know what they're waiting for. There
are 4 teams with 8 or more wins, and we cannot in any way. There is no path to 8 wins for us. So there is no mathematical possibility for us to eke into a playoff spot at this point. Arizona winning this weekend made that mathematically no longer possible. So 4 games left in the season, and it is what it is. 3 of them are home games, which is great. We get to gather together at the Freeman Coliseum, enjoy football, have a great time. But in the end of things, those 4 games are our only 4 games left of the 2025 season, and then we go back into off-season mode and begin to look forward to 2026. So what are you thinking, Leo? Eliminated from playoff contention, does it mean anything?
Well, it means we're not gonna celebrate at the end of this season with a championship trophy or anything like we were hoping for. But
I'm not gonna get my ring. I thought I was gonna get a ring.
Not this year.
No ring. But, it's a time. It's still there's still a lot to be seen in these games, and there's still a lot of fun to be had, first of all.
Sure.
But then on the football aspect, there's still a lot to be seen, decisions to be made, and things to build on for next season. we've got players. We've talked about this ad nauseum in the last couple of games, but they're not meaningless games. They mean something. Outside of the wins and loss column and the hopes for the playoffs, we can't do that anymore. I don't know. Are we even able to play spoiler for anybody?
Not really. I don't think. I think the 4 teams that are in the playoff positioning are pretty settled.
Yeah.
Tucson, ourselves, and Northern Arizona are on the outside looking in with little to no chance of breaking into that. So I think everything's kind of solidifying as we speak. Congealing, if you will. That's a gross word when you think about it. Congealing. It just makes you think of like grease at like a pea trap. Yesterday I had a plumbing issue in my kitchen. Somebody has been pouring grease down the sink and it was collecting in that pea trap, and so it caused a plumbing issue, and I had to take apart in the middle of watching Dark Knight, as a matter of fact.
Oh my God.
I had to leave the room for Dark Knight because there was water pouring out from under the sink, and had to go fix that.
We could still be the team that barely missed the playoffs. If you just follow the final standings. We got the Sugar Cookies next. We could spoil them. I think they're one loss away, and then they're outside looking in with no doubts, about that if they take another loss. So we can do that. Then of course we have our cross-conference rivals, the Jacksonville Sharks. We want to beat the Guppies. Yes. So there's definitely something to look forward to in that game. And then we take on the Arizona Rattlers, and we can still show that, hey, we can beat some of the better teams in the conference, the playoff team, that if only one thing would have gone different, one game or this game, who knows what could have happened, because we can definitely beat Arizona, and we can prove that on the 19th. And then the last game, we just, stop the Northern Arizona, Wranglers at home to close out the 2025 season at Freeman Coliseum and show how much better we are than, one of the worst teams in the league. So, for sure. So we can still make a statement with these last 4 games. We're just not going to make it to the dance.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've been looking look, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. There shouldn't be anybody that is tuning in and like, breaking news, the Gunslingers aren't going to make the playoffs. If you've been paying attention, it was going to be breaking big, crazy news if they did make the playoffs. Like they just had worked themselves into a rough situation. But it still feels like a bummer when you pull up that Arizona score and you're like, oh man, that means it's it. And we were on a bye week. Like I keep thinking of Friday. Like, how are you going to get fired on your day off? Like, how are you going to get eliminated from playoff contention when you're on a bye week? It's not fair. It's not fair. No, it is fair. It is exactly fair because we have not looked like a playoff team. We have not looked consistent enough to be a playoff team this year. We've had some really good moments, but we have not been consistent. And that's not a surprise with the issues that we've had at head coach, at quarterback, with the things that we've had to do around some of the injury situations that we've had. It's not a surprise that consistency has not been the key word for 2025 for the Gunslingers. It just hasn't been consistent in any way.
But I still think we can run the table on these last 4 games. We should be able to beat the Sugar Cookies at home. That'll be a good start. Jason Palmer correcting himself. Well, you bring up a good point, RC. Jason Palmer correcting himself. He called them the Sugar Skulls earlier, and then he goes, "Oh, wait, Sugar Cookies." That's right. I wonder if I could go to like our favorite panaderia and pick up get a whole tray of those Mexican sugar cookies. They are delicious, by the way. And I wonder if I could get that into the Freeman down to the party zone and put it on our table. I might try, RC. I might
You know
try
what
to
would
do
be
that.
cool if they could make them with a piece bitten off, so we're gonna take a bite out of these sugar cookies.
RC, I don't know
Yeah.
if you knew this or not, but you can bite into a cookie all on your own. You don't have to get
But they're
cookies
already
made
cold. It's already
with
bit
a
into
bite
it.
taken out. But then you're just getting less cookie.
That
Why
is
would you want to
true.
get less cookie?
No, no less cookie. No less cookie.
I'm for more cookie.
All right, more cookie. Never mind. Scratch the idea.
That's a good idea, though, RC. I like where you're
That
going with
was
that.
cute.
Yeah.
I got
With a
Leo.
bite out of crime.
I got Leo to agree with me on something. That's going to be.
Yeah, that's a first. It hasn't happened in a long time.
That's the one you get this show, Philip.
Missions highlighter says stuff them in cargo shorts. There's like 6 pockets in cargo shorts. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Cargo shorts are like the racks on the back of like off-road vehicles. You know, when they take a truck and they put these big racks on it and it's got everything piled up, the tent's up there and everything's in the bed, and that's cargo shorts right there.
But I won't be wearing cargo shorts. I'll be wearing pajama pants. Maybe I can like strap them in the pajama pant leg.
I'll be wearing a onesie.
Like
probably not a lot of places for cookies in that.
No,
so.
yeah, certainly not. Certainly not.
Pajama pants, though, I might be able to swing.
Captain Marvel.
Missions highlighter.
Captain Marvel.
Missions highlighter says use the fanny pack. You just got a fanny pack in the last game. Use fanny pack.
That's true.
Yeah, Gunslingers have been eliminated from playoff contention. Big surprise and big whoop. No big luck. I mean, look, I'd rather be in the playoffs, but that's not going to diminish the fun I'm going to have in the next 3 games at home, and certainly watching them go out to Jacksonville and take on the Sharks. I'm still going to enjoy the season. I as you can see from the decorations up over my head, I am familiar with a team getting eliminated.
Yes, you are. You should be used to this
before the season is over. I've been there.
Yes.
I've done that.
I've done that many times.
Doesn't change your fandom. That just it's the hope. It's the hope that kills you. Now that there's no hope, we can just have fun. We can just have a great time at these games, and it all starts on Saturday night in Freeman Coliseum. I got a question. Do you think, and this is just a guess, because we don't.
One question.
Just one. Do you think the holiday will help or hurt attendance numbers for the Gunslingers on Saturday night? Because Friday is the 4th. So what do we see? Do we see more people show up for the football game or less? And specifically because of the holiday weekend?
If I'm being honest, I think it hurts. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but we're being honest here. We're just I think the holiday hurts your chances of packing more seats on the following day.
Well, I will say this. So every girl or young lady that went to the cheerleading camp, which was close to 100, to be honest,
awesome.
We all received at least 4 free tickets for this game.
The boys also from the football camp the week before also got family tickets to the game. So that may help with attendance. But Leo, I think you're right. Like, I'm not going to disagree with your ultimate prognostication. However, I don't understand why that's the case. It seems like something like the Gunslinger game is perfectly positioned into the weekend, because
not wrong.
You do Friday and you do the 4th and you do all of your 4th stuff and you cook out and you go down to the lake or whatever you're going to do. You watch fireworks that night. You get in bed late. You sleep in a little bit later on Saturday than you normally do. And then you get up. You get some late lunch or late breakfast, early lunch, whatever you call it. You hang out at the house for a couple of hours, and then you get in the car. You head up to Freeman Coliseum. It starts at 6. And if you don't have anything else in the early part of the day, like, it seems really well positioned. But I think ultimately you're right. I think it will hurt attendance, but I don't understand why. It seems like it's so perfectly placed.
Let me tell you.
to
Let me
enjoy.
tell you. Let me tell you a little bit about my hermanos. Let me tell you a little bit about the Hispanic community and
Okay.
how we party and celebrate. So always lots of food. Large families, gatherings, 4th of July, fireworks all night long. You're waiting. Big fireworks shows. We have one here by where I live, the lake.
Woodlawn Lake.
But yeah, it's a full day thing. You're getting together early afternoon. You're waiting for the night, the fireworks, and you're doing the fireworks. So the kiddos stay up, pop the fireworks real late at night. You have all this food. You overcook, not overcook as in cook too long, but you have more food than what you need because you'd always, Hispanic, way of thinking. You always want to have too much than too little. So there's always leftovers. So it's always hey, we're getting together tomorrow again. We got to eat these leftovers. Mañana, que vengan otra vez. Come on over again. Let's get together. So then they come back again, and now they're having the leftovers, and they're getting together, and then they're hanging around, probably having a few cold ones, getting relaxed. And next thing you know, you're full, you're drunk, you're looking at the time, and you're like, I ain't going anywhere today the rest of the day. That's what happens to a lot in the Hispanic community, especially when it's a weekend like that. 4th of July lies on a Friday, so you have Saturday to just chill. And they're not there, to me, that's what happens.
My plea to everyone in the community that can hear my voice. James
Uber.
Palmer has an idea. Just Uber. There's an idea.
Uber's good.
My plea is that you hold off on one or two of those beers, and then you come to the game, and guess what? They have beer there.
Yeah,
I've seen it. I've seen people drinking beer there. You can drink beer there at the game and watch a great football game and be part of something that's really exciting, a lot of fun, and make your holiday weekend that much more special.
Yeah.
Lyft. He's giving everybody Uber, Lyft. He says no excuses. You got a bicycle? You can bike down there. There's Via.
Via. You can with Via.
I'm gonna be there. I'll be there. You don't have to convince me. I'm just saying that's what happens a lot of times.
And on top of it being a holiday weekend, it is also a superhero extravaganza. So much.
Gosh, weapons.
Ooh, you get put in your place. Lolita, stop, Leo. You're being negative. Z-Trip. Is Z-Trip the little bikes? Is that the little scooters? If it's not, there's also those. There's also those little. There's also those little scooters. Yeah. You can go get one of those downtown, ride out to the Freeman.
That sounds like fun.
I'm not saying I condone it. I'm not saying that's the way to do it. You said you don't know why that is, and I'm saying
on second thought, if you're gonna have one or two too many beers that you don't feel comfortable driving, please do not get on a motorized scooter. That's probably not a good idea either. Right next to the road, that's not a good idea. Another car riding thing, another app. Great, we need another app. That's the one thing we all need is another app. Not enough of those in my life right now. I always need another. Superhero weekend. You both have your costumes set.
Yes.
I am struggling because I know that I'm going to have a choice. We've begun wearing the fan jerseys as part of the broadcast crew.
Yay!
And I know that I'm going to wind up with both the Batman and Joker jerseys. I don't know which one I want to wear on the broadcast. And I know somebody's going to pop in. I've already thought of this idea. You don't get credit for it. I've already thought of first half Batman, second half Joker. I've already thought of doing that, but I don't know that I want to do that.
I've got a better idea.
Like Two-Face.
I've got a better idea. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Take some duct tape with you. And a pair of scissors. Cut it right down the middle, right from neck.
Jersey?
From
no.
neck and then you duct tape it on the inside.
I am
And
not
they
messing
wear
up
both.
Jordan's jerseys. What are you talking about?
That's not messing it up. That's being creative.
I'm not. No. Heck no. James Palmer says you need to do another app called IFL Network. At least one on the Roku. Could do that.
Look at Alex's comment. I love
Alex,
that one.
I need to see Alex and James at the game, and I'm going to give them a coin, a real coin, gunslinger coin, smoking guns one.
Okay, so James Palmer says I need to wear the Joker, and Ralph is Batman. Ralph is the good guy, and Philip's the bad guy. How is that the case? Why am I the bad guy? Why do I have to be the bad guy? Ralph is terrible. I'm just kidding, Ralph. Just kidding.
You're going to hurt someone's feelings.
Ralph is wonderful. He's my buddy. He's my brother. Wear one on top of the other. Well, that really kind of defeats the point.
You'd be all sweaty.
That point. It already gets pretty sweaty up there. I'm not gonna lie.
Half and half. Like first half of the game you wore one, and then the second half you wear another one. That seems more logical.
I mean, I can do that. That just seems like That seems like a boring way to do it.
I like Alex's suggestion. Let RC flip a coin, and then that decides which one you wear.
There you go.
Ralph says apparently he was watching. He was listening. Ralph says apparently I'm Two-Face. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Ralph, which one are you wearing? Which one do you prefer? You gonna be Batman? You gonna be the Joker? Is there any reason we can't both be Batman?
Or maybe Batman and Robin.
There is no Robin jersey. Okay.
Well, I don't know. Make
That's
one.
not an option, and I'm not wearing the Wonder Woman jersey, so. I feel like Batman would be more of the play-by-play analyst, and the Joker would be the color analyst. All right. I guess that probably makes sense. RC is Two-Face with her ability to flip a coin. There you go.
With the coin. Oh my God.
Ralph says no reason we can't both celebrate Batman. True. I'm gonna have I'm bringing home both either way. It doesn't matter. Not worried about that side of things, but a little bit of a conundrum. I was pulling those up so that we could share those with wonderful people if I could find them.
I think we need to have some sort of a contest. We got to come up with some kind of quick contest between you and Ralph that will determine who gets to wear Batman and who has to wear Joker.
I can go get my coin. Flip it. Let me see a pro flip it.
I don't think either of us care enough to call it, though. Hold on, I'm pulling up these. I gotta find the Batman one. I don't know why I can't find the Batman one. I found the other two. I just can't find my.
It's a Wonder Woman.
Yeah, what's wrong with wearing the Wonder Woman? By the way, just because you're a guy.
Yeah. By the way.
Because I'm a boy. Wonder Woman is a girl thing. Duh.
But you have like 3 girls at home.
Yeah, cool. They're at home. I'm not saying Wonder Woman. I don't think I ever said that. You ain't gonna pin that on me. Choices are there's your Batman, Joker. I do love that Joker.
Jordan wore that to the cheerleading camp.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
It's really solid. I mean, it's really solid. Like both of them are. Batman, I get abs. I get to pretend I have abs in the Batman one. And then, of course, your Wonder Woman options there. All 3 of those will be available I shouldn't say only at the Freeman Coliseum. If you show up Gunslinger Nation, I think they'll take your money.
I have to get the Wonder Woman. I think I bought 6-shooter one and then this one, and I missed the Wonder Woman one. I got too excited with the 6-shooter shirts.
You got 2? What? Say that again.
I got too excited about buying the 6-shooter shirts. I got 2 jerseys, one for me, one for Chester, like the hoodie. And then I got this one, and then I forgot the Wonder Woman because I was so excited about the ones I was buying for the 6-shooters.
Ralph says Wonder Woman, the only one with powers.
That's right.
Yes, right. I guess technically that is true.
Although there is something supernatural about the Joker, if you know the history.
Is there?
Yes. The Joker is
Yes,
not.
I mean, it depends
The-
entirely
the-
on which timeline, which particular, because
The Joker is more. I'll just say the Joker is more than flesh and bone.
Alex McSwain asking the real questions. Money isn't a superpower. Come on now.
That is true.
Let's
the
face
world
it.
goes around because of money.
Money is a superpower. So all three of those will be available on Saturday night in Freeman Coliseum. Many people coming in costume. I know I've heard, I know both of y'all's, but I'm not going to out you. But what other costumes have you heard about, or what other costumes in the comment section do you expect to see?
Definitely, Lolis is going to dress up. I know that.
Yeah, she hasn't decided which one she's wearing though, what she's going as. There's two possibilities. There's the one that she's gone as the last couple of years, and then there's another one,
which is
and
solid.
Then there's another one that she's debating.
I didn't go as Wonder Woman because she always does the best Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she has the Wonder Woman is what she's gone as the last couple of years, and she has heard from people saying you can't go than anything else other than Wonder Woman because you're just Wonder Woman now.
Yeah.
I love that other people get a say in what you wear to a football game. I love that people.
It's not in a bad way though, but they're just saying like, no, you're Wonder Woman. You got to be Wonder Woman. I could tell you someone. I'm not going to blow their cover, but I know of someone that my is going to look awesome as the Dark Knight. Like, probably going to be the best Dark Knight there. I've seen some preview, and that's all that I'll say. But very impressive Dark Knight.
I just received a message on the DL.
Oh no!
To you that sent me that message, can I share that on the show? I don't want to blow it if you're saving it for Saturday night, but you know who you are. If you just sent me something, is that something that I can share on the show, or do you want to hold off? Do you want to surprise everyone? Very cool.
Who remembers what I dressed up as last year? Anybody remember?
Chewbacca.
No, I don't think that. I think that was for Star Wars.
Oh, that was Star Wars.
That was for Star Wars night. That was for Star Wars night.
Superhero night.
I didn't really like the costume, but I bought it, so I wore it.
I don't remember for superhero night. I got to think.
Let's see, who can remember? It was a color.
All right, so
Lolis remembers. That's who it was.
Lolis for the win.
There you go, Poison Ivy. That's right. Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, so we don't want to devolve into movie talk just yet, but since we're talking about Poison Ivy, I want to bring up the best moment, bar none, in Batman and Robin, which we talked about at length last week, is her first appearance in the full Poison Ivy garb at the little shindig, the whatever it is, where he pulls out the Batman card, never leave the cave without it, whatever, which is stupid.
Yeah.
The best moment is that the little band that's plays the 1960s song Poison Ivy as she is dancing around. Best part of the whole movie, which is sad. But that's the best part of the whole movie, but it is. Raul Nava, if someone dresses as Clark Kent, is that considered a superhero?
I say yes. Yes.
If you're gonna do Clark Kent, Clark Kent, by the way, is a genius costume if you do it right. If you do Clark Kent right and you leave you get a red handkerchief or something and just have it peeking up over the collar of your glasses and your suit and your blazer, the whole thing, and you just have a little bit of red fabric sticking up right on the edge, genius. It is the best way to dress for a superhero event. Full suit, glasses, hair combed over, and just a little bit of the cape sticking up right over the collar like you missed it. Genius.
I want someone to dress up like a telephone booth. Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah. Have a big cardboard telephone booth with you. Your Clark Kent. Yeah, there you go.
Have you ever seen wasn't there an SNL sketch where The Rock was Superman and Clark Kent, and everybody, when he left the room to go be Superman, would talk behind his back about, like, can you believe he still thinks we're falling for this? Can you? Of course we know that's Superman. So here you go.
What is that?
That is Batman.
It's a Funko Pop head Batman.
Funko Pop head Batman. Very cool. Very, very cool.
Yep. Oh.
Also, gotta be the most cumbersome mask I think I've ever seen in my life. I cannot.
You can't turn your head.
Well, then it's a Batman.
Glasses.
Then it's a Batman cowl if you can't turn your head. Like that's true. Yeah, absolutely. That's very cool. By the way, James.
It is cool.
With Funko Pop Batman head. I imagine that's one of those things you wear in. Everybody gets it. Everybody understands and sees it. And then you pop that sucker off. Very much like what you had to do with the Cobra Commander sort of look the other night, you know? Everybody gets the effect, but you know, you got to get away from it eventually. So yeah, we're gonna have a blast at Superhero Night. It is on. Hey, Mo checking in. We're talking about superheroes and superhero costumes that we might wear or enjoy here on Saturday night when the San Antonio Gunslingers take on the Tucson Sugar Cookies out at Freeman Coliseum. What else? Yeah. So I'm not going to call you out, but if you want to share with everybody, you can let them know what you're doing here, Leo.
Yeah, I already hinted to it last week.
Maybe just a clue.
Mm-hmm.
We're like the thicker kicker crew.
Very much. Very much. It'll be a fun night. I always like Superhero Night.
I do too.
They're always. Yeah. I think this is the one. I don't want to speak for Jordan, but I think this is one of the ones Jordan has the most fun with because he always has multiple variants. There is not just one fan jersey on There never has been on Superhero Night, just one version.
Yeah,
there's always like a handful. There's right. Spider-Man and Venom and Hulk, or Wolverine and Deadpool. He never just goes with one. He goes all the way around. Iris also checking in. Good to see both of you ladies.
Hey, Iris.
Checking in and hanging out with us. Raul Nava with the most important question, DC or Marvel? I think we talked about this a little bit
last week.
But I will gladly enter this conversation again, for sure.
It's hard for me. I like them both. I mean, it's like choosing between, chocolate and peanut butter. Just put them together.
For sure. I think DC has the best, but Marvel has the most
expansive.
Yeah. If that makes sense. Like DC has the 2 or 3 best superheroes, but past that, like I could care less about Flash and Green Lantern and Green Hornet and what else is there? I don't even care. Aquaman and all of that. Like I don't care. I don't care about any of that stuff. But the 2 or 3 that are right there at the top, the Batman, the Superman, Wonder Woman, maybe up there.
Yeah, the trilogy.
But past those 3, I would fit in almost everything Marvel does before I get to another DC,
Yep.
Like
they call them the Trinity. I said trilogy, but the Trinity is
the Trinity,
Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. I'll say this: if you want to go to individuals, even though my favorite characters, even as individuals, are Marvel, I won't disagree with you that DC, overall they have the best. But when it comes to superhero team ups, when it comes to groups, DC can't touch Marvel when it comes to the X-Men, Avengers. Fantastic Four is another one that's really popular.
Oh yeah,
DC came out with the Justice League and the Teen Titans and stuff. Those things they don't even come close to X-Men and Avengers and
No, certainly the X-Men, Avengers, Fantastic Four, which is about to get another shot in the arm and maybe be done right finally.
We'll see.
I hope.
We'll see.
They bungled it twice. I really hope for good stuff. But yeah, when you take Captain America, Iron Man, the Hulk, Spider-Man, the X-Men as a whole, the Fantastic Four as a whole, when you take all of that and you're like, other than the Trinity, there's nothing DC has that stacks up to any of that. It just doesn't. Everything else is just so lackluster. It just never did much for me. Like I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they're not near as interesting to me. And then there's the whole fact that most of what Marvel has that we care about all came from the mind and imagination of the same person.
Right.
Like that is incredible that one person collaboratively with other people. But I mean, there is one through line through all of those Marvel stalwarts that we love in Stan Lee. And that's incredible. Like that is just incredible that one man has a hand in all of that. Right. George Lucas only wishes he was as cool as Stan Lee. Star Wars has nothing on Marvel. Marvel has much more interesting characters and stuff. So you're gonna do Thor a la Endgame.
Yep. Fat Thor.
Fat Thor. I didn't want to call it fat. I'm not gonna call you fat. I'm just gonna Thor as
Why?
in Endgame.
No, just thicker. Just go with thicker.
I'm
thicker
fat.
Thor.
Fat. I'm fat. I own it. Okay.
Thick Thor.
I don't. That doesn't bother me. I understand it bothers some people, but no, I'm Fat Thor. Yeah.
RC, you want to give everybody a clue as to what you're doing?
I'm the thicker Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Should be a good time. Should be
the
a lot
skinny
of
version.
Not the skinny version. You're the thicker one.
Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that.
I'm excited. I'm excited to get. It is one of my. I think I say this about every theme we do, but it's one of my favorites. It really is one of my favorites. Just seeing.
It's a lot of fun because people get into it.
Yeah, people have a great time and
get into it. Taking pictures and the kids
was
love it.
Lots of fun for me.
Do what now?
The retro was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah.
Oh, retro night. Yeah.
Retro was great.
But you know what the difference is? I think a big difference is the kids. So like you're on retro night, as fun as it was for us, the adults, the kids, they kind of look at you like, oh, wow, or whatever, or man, she's weird, or he's weird, whatever. But on superhero night, you got kids asking to take pictures with you.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
James Palmer keeping us abreast of things happening around the world in indoor football. Says, I know it's another league, but did y'all see Sam got his 4th championship in like 5 years?
Yeah, way to go, Sam.
Congratulations, Sam Castronova.
You love
Firebuds.
From off the couch where nobody wanted to MVP of another league. Go figure.
Yeah, not good enough to re-sign here in San Antonio, apparently. We were led to believe. But goes to Albany, goes back to Albany. What's funny about that is he wins 4 championships in 5 years. 3 of those have been in Albany and with 2 different teams.
Amazing.
Like what is the through line there, huh?
The leader.
It's all about Sam at that point. Like
Sam's the man.
Definitely talented.
Sam and Coach Ware can both claim a lot of credit for Albany's success, both as the Empire and as the Firebirds. That's what I'll say about that. How about that? Iris is going to be Wonder Woman.
Love it.
So there's that. James Palmer says he can go home and sleep at his home. That makes all the difference. I'm sure that's a big difference. I'm sure that's a big
Very
draw
true.
for Sam to be able to be near his
cool.
family up in northern New York and be around his wife and his kids and enjoy that. So we've got 4 games left, starting with this home game against the Sugar Cookies. Then we go off to Jacksonville and finish up with Arizona here and Northern Arizona. And that will be the end of the season. And we began having a conversation last week that was all hypothetical because we were not mathematically eliminated from anything. So it was just a hypothetical conversation. Who knew if we would ever get in the position where it would become a reality? And it is one of the few conversations that has spanned over a week. There have been more and more people chiming in on what they think and how they feel about our conversation from last week, vis-a-vis players playing it less than full bore once playoff opportunity has been eliminated. Leo, I was traveling most of the week after we got done with the show on Tuesday. I was home Wednesday, but Thursday through Sunday morning, I was on the road pretty much solid. So I did not get to get involved in that conversation a lot. So would you like to give us a bit of a rundown?
Update us.
As to where that conversation went throughout the week? I know Kevin Lewis chimed in. Kevin Lewis so often part of the show. In this particular episode, he wasn't able to check in, but he listened afterward and had some thoughts that he wanted to share. Robert Seco checking in, and then you kind of came in and summarized or helped clarify some of the situations. So tell us a little bit about that conversation, and let's do this. Let's get into this.
Well, it started last week when you proposed that you figured the rest of the year we may see some prominent gunslingers not playing to the usual level because there's nothing left to play for, sacrificing their bodies in the way that they had up to this point, because whether they do that or not, it's not going to ultimately make a difference in the status of the team for this season. It's not going to, being mathematically eliminated, it's not going to make a difference. You're not going to make the playoffs because you made more, spectacular plays at the end of the season. And you said that you understood that and that was, an understandable strategy as a professional athlete. And I said that I didn't think you had ever said anything on the show that I disagreed with more. That's in correct. The 5 years plus that we've done this. So.
But throughout the week, you have seen the error of your ways, and you have come to understand my position and now agree with me. Yes?
No, I still stand pat. I have to clarify though, because Kevin brought up a great point in his comment on the show post show.
Yes.
I have to clarify that, because he brought up the point as far as, a quarterback sliding to not take a hit, in self-preservation mode to go, you live for the next play, how is that different? Or, skill players, that might not be able to do things like that. But you have, like my son brought up in conversation, I was telling you earlier, Tyler Lockett, who made a career and was known for, going up, making the catch, getting the yards, but his yards after catch was very minimal throughout his career because he had a reputation of he's get the catch and he'd go down, not take those hits. And he had a very long career. I mean, he's still playing, I think, for Tennessee. But he spent most of his career in Seattle. And and his multiple Pro Bowls and 1,000-yard receiving seasons, and all kinds of accolades. But as Jesse, my son, called the business decisions, and I agree with all of that within the context of playing to win the game. You can make business decisions. You can make decisions to not sacrifice your body in situations, so long as you are still playing to win the game. As soon as you're putting yourself before the ultimate goal of winning the game that you're in, then I got a problem with that. We hear coaches throughout the year, multiple coaches. We've heard it from different coaches. We've heard it across the multiple seasons. We talk about, playoffs or this game coming up on the schedule. We're not worried about that. That's not our focus. We're focused on the opponent this week. One game. It's one game. If that's you're truly what you're focused on, I don't disagree with that. But if that's truly what you're focused on, then it's one game. That's all you're looking at. It should be regardless of record. And the moment that you start playing in a way that you're not playing to win the game, and you start making these business decisions, in situations where it's like 3rd and 8 and you're down 7 in the 4th quarter, and there's 4 or 5 minutes left in the game, and you get 6 yards and go down or slide, and you don't fight for those extra 2 yards to try and extend that possession, I got a problem with that. And I don't think that, I'm not saying we have players on the Gunslingers that would do that sort of thing. Philip, you're making the supposition that we may see some of that. I hope we don't, but you're asking if I've got a problem with it. I absolutely do.
Again, I have to clarify what I said, and what I continue to say is not that we will or won't see it, but that I will not judge those players harshly if that does happen. I will not be upset with players who, whatever euphemism you want to use, make a business decision, take their foot off the gas, play at 80%, knowing that it ultimately does not further the goal of the team of playing in the postseason at this point to make the spectacular catch, gain the extra 2 yards. Now, part of that is going to be mitigated just by the fact of you play professional sports for a living. You have a competitive nature that burns inside of you, and that will override business decisions sometimes where it's like, I don't even care. I don't even care that this doesn't matter. I'm getting this first down. And so some of that will be mitigated. I am not saying that I want them to or agree with business decisions or taking their foot off the gas, just that I understand what that thought process, and that I am not going to judge them harshly at this point if they make some of those business decisions.
Well,
I will say this. I've heard you say before, during a game, you don't like it when there's time is kind of running out and they what do you call it, kneel down or take a knee just for the time. And how is that different than this? It's almost like the same thing.
Completely. No, that's a different situation completely. That is a rules comment and argument that I have. I do not like the kneel down in football. I like putting something on the line at the end of the game and making it mean something. And that's what the crux of my argument is whether it means something or not.
How does it not to win a game mean something? To give it your all means something. And to do that for the fans means something. That's what I'm talking about. It's not for nothing.
In a perfect world, you're absolutely 100% correct. We live in a world of human beings that make decisions about more than the next 15 or 20 minutes of their life, or more than the next handful of days. They have to make decisions based on longevity of careers and do I want. The example I keep going back to is a wide receiver who would normally go up over the wall and risk injury to bring in a catch in our sport. I am not going to blame that wide receiver for letting that ball go in this situation. I'm just not. I'm not saying I even agree with their decision making. I'm just saying I will not judge them harshly when I'm going, you could have gotten up there and gotten that, but it meant going over the wall and exposing yourself to injury that could last a lot longer than the rest of your season's going to last. I'm okay with that. Players can't win. By the way, Leo, I appreciate wholeheartedly your channeling of the great Herm Edwards. You play to win the game. I get it. I understand. I'm fully aware that is the goal of the game, is to win the game. And I respect that and I understand that. However, players can't win. They cannot win this argument, and here's why. And that's why I don't want to judge them either way. Because you've got guys that go out, and whether they play on a bad team or they have a rough night, they get behind in the score. And then in the fourth quarter, they put together an incredible fourth quarter. This happens all the time to Dak Prescott, where he has a rough game. They get far behind. He has an incredible fourth quarter. And I hear the same argument from almost everyone. Pundits on sports talk radio, fans and anti-fans, or whatever you want to call them, haters. They all say the same thing. Yeah, he had a great fourth quarter, but it was in, what do they call it? Garbage time.
Garbage time. Yeah. Okay.
You can't win. So I have to go all out and play the game by this logic that you're presenting me. I have to go all out and play with everything, but I still will not get credited for that because it didn't really matter and it will just be garbage time. That is why I understand when players go, man, I'm not going to do that. If we are in, granted, it's the season and not the game itself, in garbage time at this point.
I think that's different, though.
That's the problem. It's not.
It's different because you have to look at these guys and their situations. When you're talking about someone like Dak Prescott, who is, has a multi-year, large contract making millions of dollars, then you have high expectations from that guy season in, season out. When he fails to produce until it's too late to actually win the game, that's what those complaints are about. It's not about, he was good, but only in garbage time. It's because the guy is getting paid millions of dollars over multiple years to get a team into the playoffs and to a Super Bowl. This is not that. When we're talking about IFL players, it's like Raul's. I really like Raul's comment here. If a player doesn't have a contract for next season already, I say they have to go all in every play. It might show the team or other prospective teams that you might be selfish and not a team player. These guys are fighting for their jobs because no one has a guaranteed contract beyond the 1-year contract that they sign on any given year. It's not the same thing as a guy who has multiple years and millions of dollars. And the stakes are different, the situations are different, and that's why guys like Dak Prescott get judged on a different level, a different situation than any one of our gunslingers. You can't compare the judgment on that. Right. I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just saying this is different.
You can.
There is something to fight for.
Exactly.
They're fighting for their jobs.
No, you can compare it because here's what we do. We do this in the media. Fans do this all the time. We will discount a spectacular play from Naquan Murray for a touchdown because it's in a loss. We will go, yeah, that was a really great catch, but they lost. And somehow it means less because the ultimate goal was the win. And so why, if I am any player, I don't want to call out Naquan because I don't want this to become about him because I don't think he's one of these guys. But why would any player know that that's the mentality that surrounds him and still open himself up to the possibility of a season ending, a career ending moment when we're all going to go, wow, it was really cool, but it didn't mean anything. Because we do. You cannot deny this is something that we do as fans and media all the time. I could specifically remember, I wish I could remember the game, but Naquan Murray having the catch of the year last year in the IFL. Nobody talks about it. You know why? Because we lost that game. And so it wasn't in effort. It wasn't a part of a winning effort. And so everybody wiped that catch out. It didn't matter. It wasn't important because it didn't help them win the game anyway. And we forgot about it completely. If that's the mentality of other players, coaches, fans, and media, why in the world?
Well, I'll give you a quote from Vince Lombardi.
No. Save it. No. Save your Vince Lombardi quotes. Save your Vince Lombardi quotes.
Why can't she say her Vince Lombardi quote? But you can talk about
Mahatma Gandhi. I mean,
you could talk about Dak Prescott, but she can't give her Vince Lombardi quote.
Let me share this quote from John Locke. It's not. Vince Lombardi is made into this god because he won 2 Super Bowls, the first 2 Super Bowls. He's a good football coach.
But that doesn't diminish what he said. He said winning is not everything, but wanting to win is.
I agree, RC.
Thank you.
Say it again. Read it again.
Winning is not everything, but wanting to win is. And that's what we're just talking about.
But there's nothing, there's no more. Winning or losing is not going to change the outcome for your team at this point. Right?
Yes, it is. The
game is.
No, it's not.
It is.
Nope. After the game against Northern Arizona, they're going to pack up the helmets either way, right? Like it's over then either way. Win, lose, I blow out my knee, I go over the wall and get a concussion. No matter what happens, they're going to pack up the helmets on after that game, right?
Right.
It's over,
It's not gonna make a difference on how many more games they get to play in the postseason. They're not going to be able to go to the postseason.
There you go.
But it makes a difference for everyone else, for everyone that matters, the fans, the people in the Freeman Coliseum, the people who work tirelessly on, to make game day come up throughout the days preparing for that game. We don't want to do that. Fans don't want to back a team and be there and support hard and work hard to present this game day for these fans, the people that put all the work, the tireless hours, the people behind it, everyone involved, the fans, the organization, for a bunch of guys that are to come out and just half-ass it. That's not what you want. And if they do that and they visually do that, then you bet your bottom dollar and whatever pants you're wearing that it's going to make a huge difference on who decides to show up for the next game and for the next season. If they see that, it will make a difference.
I don't see Jordan or April or the 6 shooters giving less just because we're not going to the playoffs. They're still going to give it 110%.
Different deal. That's a completely different deal. That is 100%. Like, you could make the case that maybe 6 shooters might sustain some sort of season-ending or lifelong injury in what they do, maybe, but not on the same level that you can talk about players. And I'm sorry. I think the argument keeps becoming, Philip wants them to take their foot off the gas. That's not the argument. And that's what you keep turning the argument into. I am saying I'm not going to judge the players that do that. And I think that we all need to be a little more realistic and realize that happens way, way more than we actually would like to admit. Now, granted, in a perfect world, in the spirit of competition and in the spirit of sport, all of what you're saying is 100% true. I am just a bit more realistic and say, this is a real world. And I can't justify putting my next season on the line for a season that is not going to last beyond the next 4 games.
I don't think our gunslingers would. I don't know of a player on our roster that would have that mentality. And I understand what you're saying. You're not saying you want them to come in and not give 100%, but you also wouldn't blame them if they did. I'm saying I 100%, if I recognize that you're not putting the effort on the field that you normally do, I'm 100% going to judge you.
No.
I am. You're going to lose. Fair. You're going to lose an amount of respect, not respectability, but it's more of a fan, as admiration for an athlete and someone that you admire and you really root for. You're going to lose some of that from me if I see that on the field, because I think if you're on the field, you play to win. You go 100%. Another thing that Raul Navas said just a little while ago, I'm trying to find that he said something along the lines of, if you don't want to get injured, there it is. If you don't want to get injured, sit out and let someone else showcase their skills. 100%. If you, and I said that last week, if you are nursing an injury, everyone plays hurt. Most of these guys are hurt. And if you remove yourself from the game because you're worried about aggravating an injury or getting hurt, or that's something different, I understand that. And you remove yourself from the game, that's your prerogative. And if it's a coach's decision or a player's decision, and they decide I'm not going to be the best player out there for my team, someone else can be out there and give my team a better chance to win than I can right now. So I'm going to take a back seat and let someone else have a chance. I respect that 100% more than I do a guy going out there and not running routes hard and not going up to catch balls and not, trying to get extra yardage on plays. I respect that a lot more.
I understand what you're saying. I would say that in this particular iteration of the game and the way rosters are set up, I don't know that that's necessarily an option that would be made available. It's not like there's a bench full of guys behind you, like there is in the 11-man game, some of that kind of stuff. Lalise brings up an interesting point, and I will say this. She says, I would love to hear the players' take on this. I would love to hear an honest take on this. And I don't think we would get that from players. I think we would get players that would say exactly what they're supposed to say, exactly what Leo and RC are espousing here, what most fans would agree is the right answer. And I think players are smart enough to know that even if they feel differently, that is the answer that they would give. And so I agree. I would love to hear like an honest take on this, because I think that absolutely. We talked about this earlier, Leo. Randy Moss freely admitted when he played the game that there were plays that he did not play. Like, he straight up said, there are plays on the field that I don't play. I don't put any effort in, because it doesn't ultimately make much of a difference whether I run downfield and run a pattern or block, because it's not on my side of the field. It's not anything that's happening in my area. Randy Moss is a Hall of Famer, and nobody would discount the impact he had on the game. And Randy Moss was a guy that would freely admit that, like, I do that. I do. He said it multiple times in his career, where he said, I just don't go all out on every play. I don't.
Yeah, and your argument when I said, I don't like that about Randy Moss. That makes me think less of him. And you joked about, we'll take him out of the Hall of Fame. No, I mean, He was a tremendously talented guy and made a career of making outstanding plays. But nobody likes a guy who takes plays off. I guarantee you it bothered his teammates at points, during games and during their career. I guarantee you it bothered coaches. And if I were a coach on that team, I'd be in his ear about it. He wouldn't like it. He probably wouldn't listen, but I'd be in his ear about it, because it's not okay. It's not okay.
Raul Nava says, I think Leo has a point. I think most of you do think Leo and RC are on point here. And I don't blame you. Like, I understand where you're coming from. He says, however, how would you feel if the organization half-assed the production of the last games just because they won't win or go into the playoffs? This again is a different situation. A, that's not going to happen. We know that because we know this organization. And B, we're not talking about, ooh, they went so hard at the end of the season that now they can't put on a good production at the beginning of next year. And that's the difference we're talking about with a player that goes up across the middle for a pass and gets his knee blown out in a low tackle and cannot start the year next year because he went across the middle and went up high for a pass that ultimately would not have changed anything. That's what we're talking about. And that just isn't the same for our staff and the team. And that's the difference we're talking about. Everybody keeps trying to make this, I feel like you keep trying to broaden this argument into everybody should give their all the time. Well, yes. I mean, in a perfect world, in a rainbows and unicorns world, yes, that's true. That's not the world we live in. And if my decision as a player comes down to a concussion at the end of this season, you only get so many concussions in life before you just can't do it anymore, or letting the ball go over my head and playing the next play and hoping we can get them on the next play, I will factor in what's on the line. And at this point, it's not playing beyond the regular season. And again, I don't agree with the mentality. I just think realistically it's there, and I'm not going to judge guys for doing it. I'm not going to judge a guy that says that particular situation is not worth. When there are going to be other times when they're protecting next season or the next play. Like, just because they let one ball go sail over their head instead of going over the wall for it does not mean they lose the game. That means that they are able to play the next play. And I think making decisions that way is acceptable in this particular situation.
I agree on that. They're called business decisions, like we said earlier. Like if you recognize you're putting yourself at extreme risk of an injury on a certain given play, just like a quarterback sliding, but it's 1st and 10 and you gain 4 yards on the run, you're going to slide. I mean, that's football. That's smart. But if it's 3rd and 8 or 4th and 8 and you're sliding after gaining 6, you're not playing to win. That's different. It's different.
Yeah. No, I don't. I honestly just I think that there is a certain amount of grace that we have to extend to these players and say, hey, I get it. I understand that finishing out the year healthy is important to you, and being available for next year is important to you. And if that means that 1 or 2 plays that maybe earlier in the season would have gone differently, don't. I understand that. I'm okay with that. I get it. I understand that it's a longevity decision, and I'm okay with that. So
we'll find out on Saturday when and all the players get on the field. And
I mean, honestly, we won't. You'll never have an answer to this. This is one of those unanswerable things that I think everybody kind of makes up their mind on. Obviously, all of us have made up our mind. It's good show fodder, and it certainly started a conversation online this week, and that's why we wanted to revisit it, because people had more thoughts and more ideas.
Sure.
Again, I mean, I agree with the spirit of competition that you guys are putting forward. I just also recognize that there has to be a certain amount of realistic thought that comes into it. And I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with that kind of decision making, if that's what it comes down to. I understand players that go, if this were a different situation, maybe, but I'm not in that position right now, and I can't. I can't put that. I can't gamble that on this particular situation. There's not the same. There's not the same return on investment here available. So, and I mean, I get it.
Well, I'll give a little kind of information. So some of you know, most of you know that I did a 5K this week. It was brutally hot. I'm not always in the best of shape, but I had said that I was going to do a 5K once a month. And as I crossed the finishing line, I was like, oh, am I last? They said, no, there's 2 people behind you. So I was the 3rd from last, but I still finished that race. And
There you
that's
go.
that pride in self. Nobody paid me. Nobody was giving me glory. Nobody was there to cheer me on at the end, but I did it for pride in myself. And I think that is most important than anticipating what could go wrong. And I feel like most of our players would probably feel how I do. You know, it wasn't pretty.
Mhm.
My face was all red and I was tired. I had a little fan on, but I did it. And no one can take that away from me.
Absolutely.
Got to the finish line, yeah.
Yeah, and there was something on the line every step of that for you, because finishing was its own own goal and own prize. I don't think that's a 1-for-1 comparison. However, that doesn't diminish at all the incredible feat of finishing a 5K. It's not something that I could do right now, and may never have the ability to do again. I messed up my ankle pretty bad when about 15 years ago, and was told by a doctor that my running days were over. And so I probably won't ever get an opportunity to do that. Incredible feat, but finishing is the goal there, and that was still on the line every step along the way. So again, nobody's gonna change each other's mind here, I don't think. And I think we're all in the, but it's fun to talk. Like, these are the kind of discussions that we need to have on a sports talk show, or these are the conversations that last years and years, and those are okay. Speaking of other things you did this week, RC,
Yeah.
you got to go spend Saturday out with the 6 shooters and with the Gunslingers organization and with some other folks, and we got to be involved in even more
I
as
know.
a show. The Smoking Guns podcast and our
Yeah.
patrons and listeners got to be more involved than we thought we were. Tell us a little bit about Saturday and how all that went, and some of the surprises of the weekend for you.
Absolutely. So I know that we actually received a late call and text, I think the day before the camp, asking if we could help out with 3 of the teens, who mean like the high schoolers, who wanted to attend the camp. However, whatever, due to financial reasons, they weren't able to. And I sent a text out to y'all, and within seconds we said, yes, we can do it. We can make it work. Let them know that we can do it. And that really made me proud that we can be part of this podcast, even though we argue. I'm just kidding. We love each other, and we love football, and we love to give back to the community. And we weren't going to let 3 females not attend the camp the day before just because of financial reasons. And we are true to our word, because we mentioned that on the podcast.
Yep.
If anyone needs or wants to go, don't let the financial hold you back.
Right.
And so proud of that. Love us for what we do, and we give back to the community. And that's also our patrons. They help us out too. Because if they hadn't helped out, then we wouldn't have enough money kind of in the pot to continue to help these other girls.
I'll be 100% honest. I know at the end of every show, we talk about being a patron, and we talk about it helping us pay the bills for the show, but then us banking some money so that we can help kids get to football camp and 6 shooters camp this time of year. But let me tell you how important that is. We were close enough when this phone call came in, when this text message came across. We were close enough that we were able to move some things around, and each of the 3 of us were able to put a little in, and we were able to get over the finish line. Had we not had any one or 2 of our patrons throughout the years, throughout this last year, canceled or decided not to support the show anymore, that decision would have possibly gone another way.
Like, we might have had to say we could do 2.
Yeah,
right?
we absolutely might have had to say we can't do all of that because we're just not close enough, and we can't make it happen within 24 hours. And so I'm not saying that so that people will give us more money. We don't make a dime on the show. None of the 3 of us make money on the show. We bank this money. We use it for these things. And this particular week of camp wiped out our account. I mean, it brought it
zero. We're at negative.
To be fair, in full transparency, we are not at zero right now. Or we are not in single digits, which is where we will be, simply because I have yet to receive the invoice from the Gunslingers. They're going to send it to me this week. And when I pay that invoice, we're going to have not enough to buy a value meal in our account, which is fine. It'll grow again. Our patrons are there. We're not worried about that at all. However, that's what we were there for. That's what things were there for. And that's why the entire year of our patrons, and we'll just go ahead and do it early because we're really appreciative in this moment for the above and beyond nature of people like Alfred Rodriguez, James and Jessica Palmer, Jay Washington, Jordan Steubing, James Steubing, Kim and Greg Nelson, Mo and Iris Ferrante. If any of those people had said no instead of yes throughout the last year, we would have had a different or a more difficult decision to make. But because they have said yes all year long to helping support this show, we were able, after all the money has come out for the bills, still able to have enough to say yes to this family with these three girls who made lifelong memories on Saturday because of our patrons and because of our show. That's so cool. Like, that is such a cool thing.
Oh, yeah.
The Gunslingers already do an incredible job of making this as affordable as they can. Oh, don't get me started. James Palmer says, so now we need to tithe for church and for the podcast. I would rather not mix these two things because I could go off on both of these things. But no, look, if you're not in a financial position, any of you, to support the show, if it makes a difference overall in your family's quality of life or well-being for you to give us $5, $10, or $20 a month, do not give it to us.
Please don't. Yeah.
Don't do it. Like, I'm not asking for that. I would never, ever ask for that. That is not our expectation. However, if you're like, geez, $5 a month, I can throw that in there and help them next time a family calls on Saturday at 3:00 in the afternoon. Oh, I'm sorry, Friday at 3:00 in the afternoon for a Saturday camp, and they're able to say yes that quickly on something like that because of my $5 a month. If you're able to do that, we would love to have you on board. We would love to have your help so that next time this comes up, because let me tell you, folks, I don't have the numbers. I didn't run the numbers to look at them. RC, you may remember because you're kind of elbow deep in the kids at camp. Mm-hmm. But I know over the past 3 years, if I were to chart it out, the kids that we've helped have grown year over year.
Absolutely.
We have helped more kids each year.
And they come back.
And what that means is next year, this year we got 7. We got 7 kids to camp. Next year we're going to be looking at 9 or 10. And we're going to need to have that. Yeah, and that's great. But we need to have that available. So
right.
If you're able to be a patron, like those names that I just read off, you can go to Smoking Guns, patreon.com, Smoking Guns Pod. That's Smoking OG, Guns with a Z, POD. And you can throw in $5 or $10 or $20 a month. You help us make the show go, because we live in a world where everybody's got to get their piece, and that includes our hosting platform and this platform that you're watching us on right now, and the website that we maintain, the website address that we maintain, all of that kind of stuff. Like, everybody's got to get a piece of that. Every once in a while, we have to upgrade some equipment. That doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And then anything that's left over, we just keep in the bank. And when we get to June and July, and it's time to send kids to camp, we have that available. And if you want to be a part of that, you can. Just go to patreon.com, Smoking Guns Pod, and be a part of that. And if you don't want to, or you can't, no worries.
Mhm.
It's all good.
Problem.
It's not a problem. We are not hurting and have never been hurting as a show financially. It took a while for us to get back to even because we had to put out a bunch of money at the beginning of all of this, but
Yeah.
I think we eventually got back to even a few years ago. And from this point on, like, we're just taking this and pouring it right back into the gunslinger community, and families around our gunslinger community. So be a part of that if you want to. And if you don't want to or you can't, no worries. Hang out with us anyway. No problem.
Yeah. Also, as another option, before I forget, we still have a few Smoking Guns podcast jerseys. So if you wanted to, donate some money and get something in return for that, contribution, we have a few. I don't know the sizes off the top of my head, and I have to go back and pull them out of the box. But if anybody's interested and wants to know what size availability we have, just message me and I can tell you. I have them here in my possession here. So
you can message Leo. You can email the show, smokinggunspod@gmail.com, and I can get that message over to Leo if you're interested in having one of those. None of us are wearing one today, but we have the Smoking Guns Pod jersey from last year, 2024, a Gunslinger / Brahma jersey that we have. So, and Jordan says, I think we need a new version of that. Maybe not for 25. I mean, we're rounding out 25 right now, but maybe we start off 26 with something. Maybe that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
April Stubing saying, thank y'all so much for the support. I know it made a huge difference to these kids. And while you may think she's thanking the three of us, she's not, because the three of us alone do not get 7 kids to camp this year.
That's right.
It is only with everybody else that is a part of this show that happens. We sit around and talk on microphones. You guys did the real work. Those of you that contributed and made that happen are the ones that did all the work to get those kids to camp. We were just a conduit for that, and we recognize that is not us. That is you. So she's not thanking me or Leo or RC near as much as she's thanking all of you that were a part of that. So
it's a village. Well, yeah, so it was great. Francesca and I, we both volunteered, which was great. They had them in 2 groups. So we had the Bloom, and then we had the Red, White, and You. So it was divided by age group. So, and in the smaller age group, they had 3 different color sizes of T-shirts. And this is where April is just so amazing. So the little ones which were like 4, 5, and 6, they, I think, had a pink. And then the girls that were like 7, 8, and 9, they had a yellow. And then the 10, 11, 12, they had blue. So right away, they were already set to which group they would be in. And everything was sort of based on their skill set and their developmental stage and their attention span. So I think they think of everything at this camp. So they would get a T-shirt. They would get their own pom-poms, 2 pom-poms that they were used to practice, and they could take them home. And they had a corona or a crown that lit up with flowers. So as soon as they got their shirt on, then there was some photo opportunities with some beautiful balloon arrangements, amazing. And then after that, we were at Northwest Vista. And we laughed because I remember the first time that we had the camp, it was at St. Gerard's High School, I think it was. It was so hot. They didn't have air conditioner because it was on the weekend. And some of the schools turn off the air conditioner. But Northwest Vista Theater was amazing. Each group had like their own room. So they had a theater that they could practice on stage. There was a whole dance studio. It was just amazing. It was so clear, and every group had their own room. It was great. And then while they were teaching the routines, then we helped out and we put out the snacks. There was fruit. There was food donated from Smoke and Mo's. There was cookies. There was Gatorade. There was milk, chocolate milk, white milk, iced tea. I mean, it was just everything they could think of. And because there was all these different groups, they would come in shifts. And so I would help them get what they want. Chessa was helping them, getting the food, carrying the plates out there. They were able to eat outside. The facility was amazing. I would definitely say the best place that we've had to do the camp was at Northwest Vista, a good location. And then after they ate, after they practiced, they learned all their skills, their techniques. And I know with the teens, the ones that we helped the 3 girls with, Michelle, one of the 6 shooters, she gave an inspirational kind of education speech to them to encourage them because she's one of the senior, I would say, cheerleaders in the sense that she's a little bit older and she's still putting her body through all of this. She has kids. She has, I think, her PhD. She just graduated and she was able to do all of this and participate in part of the 6 shooters. And so after that, then like around 11:30, all the parents started coming in. They were all able to participate while each group did their own little performance. And then at the end, they learned chants. And so then they would do the sidelines. And then Cassie, the coach, she would run pretending she was a player. And the girls were shaking their pom-poms and yelling. And it was just so amazing. And so, like I said, we were able to help 5 of the girls. One of the girls I knew personally. And the next day, her mom sent me a video of my little friend still practicing her routine.
Oh, that's awesome.
She wants to perfect it for Saturday. And so
Great.
it was just really heartfelt. I mean, you could see the smiles on their faces. The girls did an activity with coloring, and what they colored were pictures of the different 6 shooters. Oh my God, it was so cute. And then they were able to take Polaroid pictures, and these same Polaroid pictures were ones from the first group. And so I know one of the campers, this is their 3rd year in a row that they've gone, and they've collected those Polaroid pictures. And they were just so excited, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful time. I believe there was close to 100 young ladies there. So it was great.
That's awesome. Wow.
I think Jordan and April are watching. If you could give us like an idea of ballpark of how many girls were at camp, that'd be really cool. What for those who might be not as old as the rest of us here on the podcast, what's a Polaroid picture? You're gonna have to explain.
Oh my gosh,
what that is.
That's the new thing nowadays. It's a camera where you snap it and the picture comes right out.
I promise it is not a new thing.
It's
a revived
thing, but they're bringing it back. They're bringing it back. They really are. Because Polaroid pictures it's like an instant, and we don't have to wave them anymore like we used to. Remember back in the day?
Oh yeah,
you have to shake them. Yeah,
we all know that feeling. But yeah, and so I guess they're coming back, I should say. And so they had Polaroid pictures, so it's instantaneously you have a picture of the camper with the pom poms, and then they were able to take it home. They were able to take home the pom poms, which, if anyone knows anything about chilling, those are pretty expensive. And so they got the shirt, they got the pom poms, they got that corona with the flowers that lights up, and again, they get 4 free tickets to the game on Saturday at 5:30. So they're super excited. Some of the older girls are going to be on the side with the 6 shooters. Some of the younger girls are going to be on top where you used to be, Philip, and they're going to be performing there. They're going to be performing while the players run out. So life changing. If you don't believe that, you would see that in those girls' smiles and how happy they were throughout that whole camp, those 4 hours. It's amazing.
I hope we see a lot of turnout for these people to come watch their girls perform for the game, and then the families for the boys football. I shouldn't say boys because there was a girl there, right? For
That's right.
the football camp from last week. I really hope to see a good turnout at this game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Because superhero week is always a lot of fun, and the more kids we have there, the more fun it is. So
yes,
that's going to be really exciting. So I'm excited to see that.
Well, I'm going to embarrass somebody here.
Uh-oh.
In a good
not
way.
Be me.
It's in a good way. Don't worry. As we've sat here and talked about what a difference it made to have our patrons connected with getting these girls to camp. Our longest tenured patron has always been Mo Ferrante. She started from the beginning, and we recognize that when someone makes that commitment and makes that sacrifice, they don't do it. One person doesn't do it. It's a family. And so when we've read names, we've always read Mo and Iris Ferrante because we recognize that is coming from both of them. But next week, when I read out our names of our patrons, I will have to read Mo Ferrante and Iris Ferrante separately because their household has now bought in with a second patron account. So they have doubled up on what they are doing to help the show.
So much.
But beyond that, to help girls, boys and girls get to camp. And so I don't know. I know that they are usually pretty quiet when they give. They've asked us before when they've given for some other things to not say anything, but I'm going to claim ignorance and say they didn't tell me I couldn't say that, as this just popped up across my Patreon board that I'm looking at, and so I'm gonna embarrass them. I'm sure it's not what they certainly not what they did it for, was so that they got a shout out on the show, but because they get all kinds of shout outs on the show, but we really appreciate and we're blown away by the generosity of some of these folks, of all of these folks that are on this list, and we're thankful. April says a little over 50 attended camp. But with the 6-shooters and the staff, there were about 75 people there. Definitely our biggest one yet. We hope to continue to grow now that we have a venue to accommodate.
Beautiful.
And she goes on to say we're excited for the girls to get to come and experience game day from the 6-shooters' point of view and help grow their passion for dance and achieve their dreams. Playoffs or not, this is what's important. Like, you know,
Absolutely.
this is better. Luckily we don't have to make the choice. Like next year, we don't have to go into the next year and be like, do we want a lot of kids at camp or do we want to make the playoffs? We can do both of those things.
Yes, we can.
But this has a longer lasting impact, I think, than making the playoffs does.
Absolutely.
Because these are literally, Mo said it a few minutes ago, creating lifelong memories for these kiddos. And that's way better than make it. I'll still take the playoffs. Like I want to be in the playoffs. I'm not discounting that at all. But this is better. Hey, if you have your bull spit and bullseye, you need to probably start getting those in. Your bull spit would be the worst thing in San Antonio professional football this week. Your bullseye, the best thing. They're out there. There are some things out there. So make sure you get those in the next few minutes. It was a bye week, so but there are good and bad things that we can talk about. Get those bull spit and bullseye in. RC.
Yes.
What time did you get to Northwest Vista?
I got there at 7:30.
What time did you leave?
I don't know, way after everybody left, like after 12-ish.
Okay. That's a long day. That's a long day when you're around 50 kids, 50 kiddos.
It went by quick. And you know, one thing that Coach Cassie had said, she's the coach now, and a couple years ago she was on the 6-shooters. And before that, I think she was one of the cheerleaders or on the dance team with San Marcos, I believe. She had said that she went to the Dallas Cowboy cheerleading camp and how that made a difference to her. Now, I know some of the people, the campers who attended, may never, ever get to the Dallas Cowboy cheerleading camp, but this camp is going to be their Dallas Cowboy cheerleading camp for them.
For sure. Certainly. Well, we may not have had a game this week, but lots happened. We saw some football in the IFL. Unfortunately, it didn't go our way, and we got eliminated from contention. But then we had lifelong memories for 50 girls, 50 kiddos created, and 75 folks gathering together as the Gunslingers put on camp. So all in all, still a win of a weekend, if you ask me. It's time. It's that time of the night, bull spit and bullseye, And you guys don't have to go first because I already got one.
Yay!
The bullseye.
Nice.
Bullseye that more kids could get helped at camp. I think I've got what he's saying here. Bull spit, the fat lady singing for the end of the Gunslingers possibility of playoffs. The season's not over. The fat lady has and has not sung. It's kind of a Schrodinger cat thing right now. The cat is both alive and dead. The season is over as far as playoff contention, but the season is not over. And so it is
show up.
The fat lady has both sung and not sung. It is in theology called why have I forgotten now? Somebody else talk, and I'll come back with it here in a second because I'll get it in just a second. There is a theological idea about Christianity that is Schrodinger's cat style, and I'm going to remember what it is while RC tells us. While RC tells us her bullspit bullseye.
All right. Well, of course, my bullseye is going to be the camp. I mean, it was just a wonderful experience from seeing the littles all the way to the teens, getting so involved, the different activities, the friendships that they made. So that's always going to be my bullseye, definitely for this weekend. Bullspit, I would say it was a bye week, kind of like, I wish I was even missing going to a watch party. But so for me, it was a double win, because I was able to be part of both camps, and the football one and for the 6-shooter one. And for me, that's a win-win.
Gotcha. The theological concept is called the already, but not yet. The victory has already been won at the cross and at the empty tomb. Christ already won the victory, but it has not yet occurred, because it will not occur until his second coming and judgment day and all of those things you read at the end of Scripture. So we live in this tension of already happened, but not yet occurred. That is the theological concept that is very Schrodinger cat or the Gunslinger season. They're all the same. Christ's victory, Schrodinger's cat, the Gunslinger season, all the same thing. All basically the same thing. That's probably sacrilegious for me to say that way. Alex McSwain, bull spit, mathematically eliminated. Not fun words to say. Bullseye. For players, I feel once a gunslinger, always a gunslinger. Congratulations to Harold Love, Isaiah Hardy, Kobe Bird, Sam Castronova, and anyone else I missed on becoming the very first Arena Crown winners for the Albany Firebirds.
Yeah.
Good on them. Championships are the reason you do it all. And so anytime you can hoist that trophy that you've played all season in that league over your head, you won. Nobody gets to say, yeah, but it's just this. That's what we were going for. That is the ultimate prize. Nobody can ever say, yeah, but that's not the real, because it is. It is what you've worked for all season, and you get to hoist it. And those guys that used to be gunslingers or have been gunslingers at some point, we rejoice with them, and we're excited with them. Leo, how about you? Bullspit and bullseye.
Well, the bullseye, I got to give it up to our fellow co-host RC Woods for being on Branded and doing quite well.
Oh, thank you.
I thought you were excellent, RC. Way to go and way to represent on Branded. So that was my bullseye for the week. RC had a very busy week. Yeah, doing the Branded and the 6-shooters camp.
Branded 5K and 6-shooter camp. Dang, girl.
By the way, RC, like Philip, there is no way in hell that I could ever even think about running a 5K.
I didn't run. I walked.
Or you walking it. I still couldn't do it. Now, if someone wanted to challenge me to 5 cakes a month, okay, I'll do that. I'll take that challenge. I won't do a 5K a month like you said, but I'll do 5 cakes a month. That's my goal now. You know what? I'm with you. You do 1 5K and I'll do 1 5 cakes.
1 5K.
A month. Yeah. Bull Spit. I mean, obviously being eliminated, but everybody's already said that one, so I'm going to share one other one. This empty space on my wall right here. I've been, wanting and trying to be able to kind of set money aside to get some of these, because those frames for jerseys are expensive.
Right.
And I finally got those ordered and finally had them come in, and I have excited to put my Kali Rashad jersey, which is going to go, right there. And then, I have my Sam Castronova jersey from last year and put that up there. And then as well as my son's high school football jersey, which, obviously means a lot to me. Frame that. And then my son gifted me a Steve Atwater jersey for Christmas, signed, which is amazing because everybody knows I'm a big Broncos fan. So I have those 4 frames come in, and one of them was broken.
Oh, no.
So that was my Bull Spit, because I really wanted to hang those. But I'm the type of guy, like, if I'm going to do a job, I want to do it from start to finish,
right,
all at once. And my plan was to have those things hanging right here by the time we did this show. But I was just bummed out about the 4th one being broken and not being able to do all 4. So maybe next week. Hopefully they get that replacement here pretty quick.
Yeah, bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Bummer, but yeah, you'll get it replaced, and we still got a month of the season left, so there'll be opportunities. My Bull Spit and Bullseye, my Bull Spit, it's hard to be interesting and choose something different when it's the week you get eliminated from playoff contention. That just has to be the Bull Spit. Like there's not a whole lot else, especially on a bye week. And for the Gunslingers to be eliminated on a bye week, just salt in the wound a little bit. But my bullseye is that we still have 3 home games. We still have 3 opportunities to gather together to watch Gunslinger football, and it all starts on Saturday, and it's going to come real fast. Like July is going to be a great month for Gunslinger football, and despite the conversations that we have about business decisions or playoff contention or all of those things, that is just, what is the line from A Few Good Men is, it's a bunch of smoke-filled coffeehouse crap. That is what we talk about between games, because once we get in game time, that none of that matters. None of those conversations matter. We get to enjoy the games, and we get to watch 3 games here on our home field on the John Wayne Service Company field there in Freeman Coliseum, and then we get to watch the Gunslingers out in Jacksonville take on the Sharks. 4 great games, all still going to be just as great as they would have been no matter what the situation. And we've still got a whole month of football left, and that's exciting. Like that's my bullseye. And April says, don't worry, your game day experience will always be great.
That's you go.
Their goal.
That you can count on.
That's their goal, to make sure everyone who attends a game has a great time. And they do that time and time again, no matter what. And that is the goal for Saturday night. So do it. Write it into your calendar now. Call your friends. Call your enemies. Tell that guy at work that's not sure. Ask your friends at work. It's a holiday weekend. True. When you go in tomorrow and you're in the office and you're hanging out and you're just avoiding work and you're looking for something to talk about so that you don't have to go find something to do, say, hey, what are you guys doing this weekend? Like I know Friday everybody's got a plan. What do you guys got planned for Saturday? And then share the news that there is something really cool happening right here in San Antonio Saturday night, and it's cheap, it's affordable, not cheap, it's never cheap, but it's affordable, and it's a great time, and they should give it a try. It will be a great way to cap or to continue the holiday weekend.
And I think I saw something, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I saw something about a sale right now on tickets, 30% off or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I saw that too.
Yeah, I definitely saw something about a sale. So, like, it's even less expensive than it usually is. So, great reason to come out and have a great time and support our gunslingers. And trust me, you will have a great time.
That's right.
Yes.
And I wanted to mention a couple of cheerleading quotes because I know earlier we were talking about quotes, and for whatever reason, Philip didn't want me to finish my quotes, and I'm going to get back at you and give you 3 quotes for cheerleading. So, one cheerleading quote says, "It's not about being the best; it's about being better than you were yesterday."
Mm-hmm.
A second quote is, "Practice creates confidence, and confidence empowers you." And so I know for sure, 100%, I can say this 6-shooter camp empowers females.
It does. It is awesome, and it is important. The reason I have such an aversion, there are a couple, to specifically Vince Lombardi quotes. Vince Lombardi was a really good coach, but he is not the only really good coach. And it seems like anytime we're talking about football coaches, somebody has to whip out a Vince Lombardi quote. You know what? There are other great coaches out there that have said great things. Let's give some other guys some love. Vince Lombardi was good, very good. I'm not taking anything away from him, but he's not a god or anything. He's already got a trophy named after him. Can't we please pretend that there are some other guys out there that have said stuff that's worth repeating? I get so tired of Vince Lombardi said. It's one of those trigger statements for me. The other reason is
obviously it was a big trigger for you.
The other reason is I just don't like Vince Lombardi because
I was gonna say,
where's the truth there? Speak the truth.
So Vince Lombardi and Tom Landry were players and assistant coaches in New York together. And then Vince Lombardi went up to Green Bay and Tom Landry went down to Dallas around the same time. They both had incredible careers. They both were successful in their own right. They both won 2 Super Bowls. But Vince Lombardi has a trophy named after him. And everybody always quotes Vince Lombardi. And Vince Lombardi, you know what happened to Vince Lombardi? He left the Green Bay Packers. He went to the Washington Redskins. He was never very successful in Washington. You know what happened to Tom Landry? He had a solid career of football for 29 years with one team. How come nobody ever quotes Tom Landry? Why does Tom Landry get the short end of the stick because he didn't win the 2 games that Vince Lombardi won? I'm so tired of everybody being all about Vince Lombardi and not recognizing that Tom Landry was as good as Vince Lombardi. I wouldn't even say better, just as good. And he needs to get some of the credit that Vince Lombardi gets. They were 1A and 1B, and nobody ever sees it that way. We do not need Alex Oswald says we need more Yogi Berra quotes. No, we don't. I love Yogi Berra. I love the Yogi Berra quotes, but I will tell you, we do not need more. We have plenty of those. 80% of the game is half mental. That's a great pair up in 3s. Yes. Yeah. No, certainly. Yeah. I have an aversion to Vince Lombardi and the hero worship of Vince Lombardi, and I hate. It really bothers me. You go into.
We can tell, Philip. We can tell.
You go into restaurants that have nothing to do with sports, football, or the Packers. They're not in Green Bay. There's one in Wharton. It's called Niners Grill. Okay, they pop up in little towns all over the place, and they have this huge shrine to Vince Lombardi hanging on the wall in their restaurants. Why? Why? He's a good coach. I'm not taking anything away from him, but what? Why is this guy a god and that guy is forgotten? That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. In any case.
Did you know about the first responders, that message that April just put out there?
Let me check it out. Also, in case anyone will be out of town for the holiday, our following game will be on July, not January.
Good Lord, where are you?
July 19th, and it is our first responders night. Come early to our pre-game party. Touch a first responders truck and more. Nice. All first responders get in free. Just show your badge at the box office. More info released soon as we finalize more details.
That's awesome.
Pre-game party. I saw somebody just earlier this week talking about how we needed more pre-game tailgating experience sort of stuff.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
the
all for
option.
that. I make the best shots. I forgot how to make them because I haven't made them in so long.
Jordan Stubing says, FYI, there will be a secret jersey available at Saturday's game.
Do
Limited run.
tell.
Limited run. Get it while you can, as well as the Batman, Joker, and Wonder Woman. Yep, there's a fourth one. I even know what it is, but it's a
Oh my
secret.
gosh.
And you only find out if Jordan decides to release it on social media or if you show up.
I want to know.
Yeah, well, you don't know yet. Yikes!
Yikes. Is right.
I am going to read this, but I'm going to make very, very certain that everybody knows these are the words of the mission highlighter, not Philip Higginbotham.
Don't throw him under the bus like that.
He wrote it. I'm not throwing me under the bus, is what I'm not doing. The mission's highlighter says, I don't know who said it, but they said the mission highlighter continues 2 or 3 plane crashes and we're in the playoffs. That is what the mission highlighter has posted there on Facebook. Nope.
But he didn't say it either. He said
he didn't say it.
sure
He said somebody said that.
Somebody else said it. Yeah.
I don't want somebody to cut up this audio and be like, do you hear what Philip said on the Smoking Guns podcast? Philip didn't say that. The mission's highlighter, he was reading a quote from the mission's highlighter. And that is not Philip. And Jordan agreed. Sheesh. Yikes.
That's too much.
We love you,
in
Mr. Highlighter.
James Palmer talking about the secret jersey. Saw a player in it at the watch party. It's pretty awesome looking. You don't want to miss out. You don't want to go, wow, that was really cool. I wish I could get my hands on one, and you can't get your hands on it because you weren't at the game on Saturday. So be at the game on Saturday.
I'll be there.
Me too. Me too.
Willis will be there. We're going to get them Wonder Woman jerseys.
Oh, yes.
Right. Yes, flash sale, 30% off all tickets. I don't know how long that's going on. It's a flash sale that started on the 25th. So it's been out there for 5 days right now. Can we get a hint? Yes, I just have to think of what the hint should be.
While you're thinking, I want to give a shout out to Carlos Trevino, who actually sent me some playing cards of the Brahmas. I know we don't cover the Brahmas, but I thought it was pretty cool that he would do that.
No,
and
that is cool.
I'll bring them on to the game on Saturday to show off because they're pretty cool. Even though we don't cover them.
I'm going to try and bring sugar cookies.
Okay. What are you going to bring, Philip?
I'm trying to think of a hint. Alex McSween says villain or hero. Villain. Clearly a villain. Anybody that sees this person as a hero has issues. This is definitely a villain.
A villain?
And James Plummer says, why are you guessing, Alex McSwain? You saw it. And here you go. Jordan gives you the hint. This is about where I was going to, Jordan. A Texas classic that came out in 1974.
Chainsaw Massacre? Kidding. I'm kidding.
A Texas classic that came out in 1974. So there you go. There's your hint. The only hint I'm giving you. And it came from Jordan. So if you happen to guess it right off the bat without even knowing you guessed it, then maybe you get it. Oh, cool. I think this is on the 19th. I'm trying to clarify. I'm not sure. We will also have players running out with the kids from Transplants for Children. That is very cool.
Nice.
Oh, that is cool.
Isn't it a restaurant now? I don't know what that means.
The site of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, really?
I think I heard something along those lines. I don't know if it's true. I can't confirm.
No, this Saturday. Okay, she says this Saturday we'll have some of the kids running out from Transplants for Children with the players. That'll be very cool. What a weird restaurant concept. If you know anything about that particular movie, there's a meal in it, but not one that you should want to participate in. And so a restaurant around that particular aesthetic is not for me. Not for me. In any case,
It is a restaurant.
yikes!
It is.
Yikes!
They call it the Texas Chainsaw House.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Nothing is there.
Nope. Like I know, like one of the most awkward and off-putting sort of meal ideas ever put on celluloid in that film, and nope. I don't need to say I ate at the place where nope. Anyway, with all that being said, we didn't even get into like deep movie talk. I was going to bring up the fact that I watched Batman and Robin. We talked about this last week. I watched Batman and Robin, and it was worse than I remember it being.
Oh my gosh.
Well, last night we watched The Dark Knight. We're up to The Dark Knight, and it is better than I remember it being. And it's in my top 5 of movies all time. But it is better than I remember it being. Batman and Robin worse. Dark Knight better than I remember it being. And with all that being said, we got anything else? You got anything
Good
else?
movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I got to go start training for my 5K. So,
Yes, you do.
5K month. Yep.
You do.
And I will tell you this: my next race is a part of the SAISD 5K race packet, where instead of a fee, because usually you have to pay a fee in order to attend the race, they're asking to bring $20 worth of school supplies. So if anybody wants to join me in the San Antonio Independent School District 5K race for next month, they're not asking for a fee, but rather a donation of school supplies. So anybody wants to join me, I'll probably be in the back of the pack, but because the summers are very hard for me to walk because it's so hot and so humid. So I'm okay if I'm second to last or third from last, but I finished it. So invites out there.
Outlaw Night, I believe, is going to be the 26th of July. It is our final game of the season against the Northern Arizona Wranglers. Somebody confirmed that, Jordan, for me. And he mentions that there will be a new Outlaw uniform set. That's right. The players will be wearing Outlaw uniforms. And that means start saving your money now, because there will be an auction, most likely, as they normally do. Remember, Leo, that's where you got Sam Castronova's jersey last year.
It is.
That's right.
Was the Outlaw jersey is the one that you will be hanging on your wall soon enough.
Yep.
When will y'all start? James Palmer says, when will y'all start movie talks for this coming summer? I don't know. We're trying to get through the season right now. We're just going with the season.
Focus on the prize.
We're not sure about holstered guns yet. We're just trying to get through a smoking gun season right now before we look back at holstered guns. With all that being said, if you're looking for the best indoor football experience, whether they're in playoff contention or not, whether they're going all out on every play or not, the best indoor football experience does not happen in Northern Arizona, out in Prescott Valley.
Nope.
Or over in San Diego. It's not up in Massachusetts, Lowell, Massachusetts. I can tell you it's not there. It's not down in Jacksonville, Florida. The best indoor football experience. If that's what you're looking to find, the 210 has got something to say.
Bang, bang.
I'm ready for some cake.
Thank you so much, y'all, for hanging out with us and joining us on our conversation. It's fun to argue sometimes. Like sometimes that's exactly what you need to do, even when you don't change anybody's mind. Right? Let's go. It's fun. We can all have opinions. We, as a society, we are losing the ability to disagree.
Yeah, for sure.
And we should be able to disagree and still say, hey, I got my way and you got yours, and that's okay.
We're still friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So,
Y'all two are my brothers, no matter what.
Alex McSwain says, gotta leave. I'm ready for some cake in the audio cut. Alex, I don't know if you noticed last week, but we added a new feature in the audio cut last week. It's something I've been toying with the idea for a long time. It's a cold open. It's something that many audio podcasts do where they take an interesting or funny moment from somewhere in the show and they just drop it on the beginning just to kind of keep you engaged and keep you involved. Like, how did that come up? I'm ready for some cake, which is going to be the very last thing on the audio episode. Has a real possibility of being the cold open on the front of the episode. You need to check it out tomorrow when it comes out on the audio feed, because all of you that are still hanging out with us are going to download that audio episode, even if you don't listen to it. Hey, you need to listen to the first few minutes to see what I think is the interesting or funny moment that will keep people engaged through the show. See, now it even gives you guys something to look for or listen for. And it's right there at the beginning. You listen to like 10 seconds. And if you don't want to listen to the rest, shut it off. But you already downloaded it. And I got credit for the download.
There you go.
I'm going to take a guess and say it's going to be a Vince Lombardi quote.
That's what I say. I second that.
It may be a rant about how much I hate Vince Lombardi. I don't know. Because so many people will hear that particular take and be like, how does a football fan hate Vince Lombardi?
I know, right?
Make sure you download the episode tomorrow. If you have not liked, rated, reviewed on a podcatcher somewhere, please go do that for us so that more people get a hold of the Gunslingers and specifically our show. And then make sure you're out at the game on Saturday night. It's all for that. It doesn't matter if we're in playoff contention. It doesn't matter if players are injured. It doesn't matter. The situation doesn't matter. We've got 3 of these games and we can go and enjoy it and have a good time. So be there. No excuses. I'm talking to you.
Mm.
Whoever you think you are that I'm pointing at right now, that's who I'm talking to. I'm talking to you. All right. Well, we're going to go. You guys have a great night. Make sure you download the episode tomorrow. See everybody later. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Good night.